Hello and welcome to this beard clipper video. This is my build with me video for the TCU challenge, which had the theme inspired by art. Now I made a false start on this one and then ended up making something completely different, and this is the something completely different. It's inspired by one of Rosie's favourite books, and the result is currently hanging on her bedroom wall and she absolutely loves it. But I'm not going to give it away too much, though you will have seen on the thumbnail of course. So let's get into this. I really hope you enjoy the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. It really does inspire me and I do reply to all of them, so don't be shy. Enjoy the video and I'll see you again at the end. So I'm thinking that I'm not gonna be able to finish the idea I had for the TCU challenge. It's now nearly a week into August and I've got to finish it by the end of August, and I've really not got as far as I wanted to, and I don't want to feel pressure to work on that because, well, it's a very awesome piece and I'd rather just spend a little bit more time and not feel quite so panicky about finishing it for an arbitrary time. So instead I'm going to pull out, and I'll try to remember to put this on screen, some awesome art from one of Rosie's books that I've just loved ever since I first read it. Made me laugh out loud. The next panel says, "You are dinner," Beast said, and then, "No, I'm not," said Dinner. And I remember reading that and actually just literally laughing out loud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do this as a very small, you can see this is just A4 sheet of MDF, and I'm going to try to do this as something which can go on Rosie's wall that she can like. She loves the book, and I think it'll be really, really striking. So there's some trees up here, and there's like a hill going down across, and Beast is here and Dinner is there. So the first thing I'm going to do, however, long-term viewers will know that I struggle with the old warp situation. And on a previous video, someone said, why don't you paint both sides with PVA before you do anything and see if that helps the warp. So I'm going to do that. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Going to paint one side of this with PVA. Now, I have tried similar to this before, and I've still never been able to prevent the warp. But maybe this time I will. Maybe I'll actually get it to not warp, which would be really nice. And if not, then I'll have tried. And that's one of the joys of this hobby, is just how much you can kind of learn as you go and try new things and test out new suggestions from awesome people. So thank you very much. Can't remember exactly who it was who left the suggestion now. It was a little while back. So yeah, I'll just put that on, see if that, when that's dried, turn it over, paint the other side, and then I'll start to mock out the shape. I'm going to do the hill actually in relief, so it's going to be in relief, but it's not going to be very deep, maybe an inch or so. I think it'll be a really nice thing to hang on her wall. So yeah, let that dry, and then I'll paint the other side, let that dry, and then we'll see whether we actually have reduced the warp. Alright, so both sides have had PVA added to them, so let's see whether we get any warp or not. So what I've got here is some offcuts of the blue foam, and I'm just going to basically trim it down to be the correct dimensions for this piece of wood. Now I'm not going to keep the whole thing covered with blue. I've actually got a very light pencil line coming along here, which is where the land is going to be. But what this will mean I can do, I can sit this like that, and then now I can basically work out roughly where I want the land to be. And as I say, it's going to roughly come like this. Something like that. And what I can then do is come along with this knife and roughly along that line, and at an angle I can carve this out. This knife is getting a bit blunt. I'm going to need to get a new blade. And as they always say, and as is very, very true, a blunt blade is far more dangerous than a sharp one. So we've carved that to an angle. So I'm now going to just make it not quite so sharp, because I don't want it to be so sharp. There we are. And we've got the beginnings. Of our terrain. So the next thing I'm going to do is do the same thing, taking from the other side of this offcut, and then I'm going to put another level on top of this, glue them together. So I'll get the other one cut out and then show what it looks like when it's all glued together. Okay, so we've got our two pieces. They're not perfect, but they're certainly going to be good enough. What I'm going to do now is glue them together first. Before I put them onto the wood back, I am going to glue them together. And I'm going to make use of PVA for this because I want to be able to cut it maybe, because I think I might need to trim it again a bit. But I want it to be nicely sealed, nicely stuck together before I start trying to work out and get the exact contours of the top. And I think I will do a very small amount of modelling compound on this as well. I think I'll need to. So there we are. What we'll do is I'll put a weight on top of that and leave that to dry for a fair while. Let's grab some weights, and then when that's dry, I'll bring you back for the next step. There we are. Won't move now. Well, this is glued together nicely, and I've just done a little bit of a shave, but not very much, just to take it to there. What I'm now debating is whether to glue it on or whether to do the backdrop first and then glue it on, because what I'm thinking I'm going to do is, again, I'll try to remember to put that picture up at this point over the screen. What I'm debating doing is actually painting the rain on first. So that would involve some techniques that I don't do very often, which is always good because it's always nice to stretch yourself and do something a bit different. So we'd be looking at putting some blues and some greys as the backdrop, and then white and brown for the rain coming down here. So I think I'm going to do that. The other thing that I can do before I stick this on is I might actually cover this with modelling compound before I stick it on as well. So those are the two things I can do. And thirdly, I need to do the sculpting of the beast and dinner, which is really where my stretching is going to be. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is the modelling compound, so that can go off. So I won't film that because you've seen me do it lots, and if you haven't, there's all sorts of examples on my channel. But I'm just going to mix a very, very small amount and just cover the blue with modelling compound, and also just to kind of like cover the blue and give it a bit of texture. So I'll get that done, and then I'll bring you back when I start to do the painting and when I start to do the sculpting. Right, I have absolutely no idea how this is going to go, but I'm going to attempt to paint the backdrop now. So I've got some colours here, I've got some more paints just off shot, got loads and loads of brushes, and I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to put some music on and just paint, and hopefully it's going to turn and looking a little bit like a cloudy day. I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to mix that colour. It's dark on this side, getting lighter to this one. So hopefully I'm going to be able to make it work. But let's see, this is out of my comfort zone, but you just got to give things a try, haven't you? Well, there we are. We'll see how I feel about that tomorrow. I'm pretty happy. It may need lightening up a little bit, but I should be able to do that once that's dried. And then when I'm totally happy with the backdrop, then I'll do the paint on it. But I'm going to let that to dry now and have a look at it in the morning. So that's dried, and a couple of things to say is the warp on this is basically nothing, which I don't know what I did wrong the first time I tried the paint glue on both sides of MDF, but seriously, so pleased. So whoever it was that said that in my video recently, thank you so much for making that comment and nudging me and pushing me to try it again, because yeah, I'm sure this would have warped terribly if I hadn't done that. So yeah, that's a lesson learned. I must have made a mistake or done something stupid the previous time, which wouldn't be the first time. But yeah, brilliant. So thank you, double thumbs up. Look at that, double thumbs up. Second thing is, I'm relatively happy with how this looks. I might now go for the painting in of the rain, which is going to be done with with white and brown. I'm not sure how well it's going to work, but I'm going to give it a go now. So first of all, I'm going to come in with the brown, I think, and I'm actually going to use a toothpick for this. So I think that's going to be the best way to do it, and that's all nice and dry and looks great now as well. So I've got my Winsor & Newton raw umber here, and I've got some toothpicks here. And what we're going to do is come along and draw some straight lines coming down like this, and I'll let this dry and then come over the top with some whites and what have you and greys. And there's just going to be lots and lots of lines. I might get a brush if this isn't working. I thought it would work best with a toothpick, but it isn't. So I might get a brush. Yeah, I'm going to get a brush. That's not working as well as I wanted it to. But yeah, so we're just going to draw lots and lots of lines like that. Let me see if I've got a small brush. I do. And that will be the rain falling. So I'll put some music on, if this works. That's better. Actually, that's probably even too big. This is quality entertainment as always. That one. I have lots and lots of brushes. There we are. Yeah, so I'll put some music on, and you can watch how this develops. Oh, happy enough with how that's turning out so far. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same brown as it happens, and I'm going to paint that all over the this ridge, the land, whatever, and then I can flock it and what have you. It won't take me very long to do. There's also a little bit of a fence here. There's trees here, so there's a fair amount of scope for fun on this build actually, and I am really enjoying it. It's nice being out of your comfort zone, doing a bit of painting. Not really my, not really my thing. It's also really nice to be making things for Rosie. So yes, I'll get that painted up. May take 2 coats, not sure. But once that's all dried and it's got a really good base, then I will bring you back and we'll have a look at the flocking and the other details that are going to go on here. So the next element that I need to work on is a little bit of sculpting. So not sure whether I'll get that done next or not, but it does need to be thought about and not put off, because I think that could take me a little bit of time. But yeah, there we are. Let's let that dry, see if I need to put another coat on, which I probably will, to be honest. Next thing to do on this is to come along with the same technique as I did for the brown, but I've got white paint now, so I'm just going to come along and draw down some light stripes, which is going to be more rain, just like that. So I won't film this all because it's going to be basically the same as what you just saw of the last step, but yeah, That's the next thing to do. Also, I've also put a second coat on the where the ground that's going to go here. So that's also been done and is drying. And so once this is done, I'm going to start to think about doing the sculpting, which is the thing which is most out of my comfort zone, as most of this project is. But also, I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, I'll bring you along in a bit, very shortly to be honest, probably, to have a look at that. Had a week's holiday, which I left this, which is cool, and I've come back feeling very chilled out and not very much like doing anything. But I want to get this done, so I'm going to get this done. Right, let's see how well we can do this. So I'm going to start working on Beast first. So I've got some wire, which is just hobby wire. You could just use anything really, garden wire. If you look at the picture, which I'll try to remember to flick on screen very quickly, what you've got kind of like the legs, and then you've got the two arms are protruding at the top. So what my plan is to do the back leg and the body on one, and I'm obviously going to put some air dry clay or green stuff or whatever. I'm going to use some modelling, and I'm going to build a body in that. So probably what I'll do is I'll do the back leg and the body, and then the front leg off that. So I'll twist the front leg on, and then I'll twist the arms on, and then I'll build I have basically an armature, and then I'll build the body around that. So if I have a look at roughly let's bring the base over here so you can see what I'm thinking. So if I have a look at that, and I have a look at my picture, which I've got on the computer behind me, the model is going to want to probably be about 2 centimeters high. That's going to be roughly how tall I'm going to have him. But that probably means I want to have about 3 centimeters or so, or 4 centimeters or so at this stage, which I will then want to trim down. So my very, very messy, dirty mat is not going to make this very easy, but I've got a little bit of clean area up here that I can offer it down to. And then what I'll do, 46 to 42, what I'll do is I will snip that off like that. So what I've then got is some tweezers, which are pliers even, which are very, very useful for this sort of thing. And I'll be using the pliers to do my twisting. And I don't know how much of this I'm going to do on camera because it's not very easy to show, but I figured I would at least start off. So the first thing we're going to do is a little bit of a foot. So there we are, we've got a little bit of a foot. I don't know how well that's showing up actually. Try and get that focused in. Come on, focus. A little bit of a foot on that. And then what we're going to do is do a little bit of a knee. So the foot does like this, and the knee bends back up. So I'll grab where that is and bend. And you can see it's relatively easy doing this sort of thing. I did the first one. I made the tiny one for one of my challenge pieces for the encounter terrain, yeah, I actually found it to be okay. So now what we're going to do is that's his leg is going to go into the body pretty much like that, and then what I'm going to do is bend that upwards like so. So we have the running leg, and what I will then do actually is bend this forwards to be one of his grasping arms. So there we are. So I will have to trim that off because it's a bit long and my battery's down on my camera, so I'm going to have to change the battery. But what I'll do now is I'll get a little bit more wire, snip that off, and I'll bring you back once I've changed the battery to show you the next step. Alright, so here we have foot, leg, going from the body, and one of the grasping arms. So what I'm going to do now is a little bit more difficult, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to twist this new bit of metal and hold it in place. And I am actually quite clumsy, as you can see, so it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world, but I think I might actually do. Let's get the bend in place before I put it. There we are, that'll make it easier. See, apply brain, not brawn. And then we will look to twist this and make this actually solid. Now, I'm not too worried about it not moving around too much, because I think the final like positioning will be done when I do the sculpting material around it. But I do want it to not move too much, so let's just get that bent right in, like so. Could probably twist it actually, that might make a better idea. And the idea here is this is going to be the second arm, like I say, poking out, chasing after lunch, dinner even, sorry. So there we are, get that twisted in. Good. So what will happen is that can go down on there, and we'll be able to straighten that out a bit, because I bent that a bit, and that will be the second arm. There we are, nearly done it. That'll be the second arm poking out, reaching towards. So there's that. So what I'm now going to do is basically the same thing, and I won't do it on camera because it's actually 20 times harder because I'm trying to keep it in shot. I'll do the same thing, but for a leg that's going to come out of the bottom here and move forwards. And then what I'll do is bring you back when I start doing the actual modelling of it. So we'll build the body, and yeah, so I'll do that now. I'm going to do that tonight as well while I'm on a roll. I'm really excited to get this done, show Rosie, I think she'll love it. So yes, I'll bring you back very shortly when I've got the rest of the metalwork for this one done, and I'm starting to actually put put the body together. So I decided to go with some Milliput, and I've done my thing and mixed up far too much, as I always do. So what we're going to be doing basically is building this up around the body to make the body of the beast. Let me quickly show you also what else I've done, because I did a little bit extra than I thought I was going to do. If I can pick it up, there we are. So I've actually applied some super glue and then a little bit of like baking soda to secure it, and that's meant that that they're held in place, at least enough for they're not wobbling around like they were, which is quite a relief. So what we're going to do is literally build this shape up around the armature, and hopefully, as I say, get it to look quite nice. So I'll start off with the sausage. I can wrap round, and that should then hold things in place, as you can see, starting to build that up. I've got a little pot of water just out of shot here. I've found it's really good to keep your fingers with a little bit of water on when you're doing this, so that things don't get stuck to as much. Now it's got quite a rotund body, as it happens, quite a round body. So I may not actually have mixed up too much. I may actually have a good amount here, which would be nice. So I think that we're going to have quite a lot on the back, and I'm going to keep working this very, very gently, so I don't want to damage my armature. Yeah, I need to push that up a little bit more. There we are. So I'm going to do this off camera. I just thought I'd show you the beginnings and how I'm going to start, and hopefully I'll end up with a nice round blob which looks like what I'm trying to do. And I will probably need to clip the arms, which are these ones at the top, but I'll wait for this to be fully dry before I do any of that. So yeah, just keep smoothing it, applying some more, and I may not even have mixed up too much. I might even need to mix up some more looking at it. So anyway, yeah, I'll stop muttering, and I'll get this done, and I'll bring you back when it's ready for you to see the next step. How exciting. Well, I got that done, and I've just, as you can see, kind of popped it up onto a little bit of XPS, and I'll let that dry. I'm not sure if that's going to be the final shape, but it's certainly good enough for me for now, and I'll let that go off overnight and then have another look at it in the morning, maybe add a little bit more, maybe not. But yeah, that's cool. I'm glad to have got Beast done. Now I've got to do dinner. Right, I didn't film this because it was incredibly fiddly, but as you can see, I've just done dinner. So what I need to do now is put a lump of the modelling stuff on top for her head,
and then I'll get to painting both of them now. I've already primed Beast downstairs. I'll just prime with some grey car primer, which I'll do the same with this one. And then Beast is bright pink, and this little one is black, so I might even just prime in black and be done with it. Nice and easy. But yeah, just a very simple metal twist. You can see that's one single bit of wire I've twisted around. I twisted it in half, twisted it crosswards for the arms, and then down for the leg, and then the main length is the other leg. So yeah, but it was fiddly, and it took 3 attempts. You can see one of my failed attempts on the other end. So yeah, so I'll get that, get the modelling compound done, not modelling compound, green stuff, whatever I'm going to use, put it on for the head, because it's got quite a bulbous head, and then I'll go painting, and I'll bring it along when I get to the painting. Well, the definition of madness is trying something twice and expecting a different result, so I'm obviously mad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make use of this pink paint and try to paint it on. And I have primed it, but you can see already it's not working. So this isn't going to work. So yeah, I'm going to give up straight away. I need to get some bright pink spray paint, because yeah, that's not going to adhere to my grey primer, is it at all? Oh well, there we are. Definition of madness, and that's why. Because these acrylic paints just do not stick how you want them to. So I'll wash that off, and I'll get myself some bright hot pink spray paint, hopefully, and I'll be right back when I've done that. But yeah, this is why you use the right tools for the job, because that is not what I wanted to look like. Well, to make up for that dramatic failure, what I'm going to do now is some flocking on this. So basically what I want to do is flock along the top, and only along the top, and not down this front bit at all, because the front bit, if you look at the picture, the front bit does not get any flock in it. So I'm going to paint my PVA glue across the top, like so, and then I'm going to make use of shop bought flock for this, just because I'm trying to use it up. So I've got the flock here, and what we'll do is we'll scatter it on like that. And again, because this is kind of cartoony, I'm not going to go for multiple colour to flock. I'm just going to use the same flock across the board, and I'm not going to go for kind of what I would normally do, which is a little bit patchy. I'm going to try to do it solid, because again, that's what the cartoon looks like. So yeah, this might take a couple of applications, I think. That's a pretty good first one, but you can see that there is a bit that I've missed just there. So what I'll do is I'll put a little bit more glue on there, a little bit more PVA on, like so, and then drop some more flock on that area. And there we are. Now that worked a bit better, didn't it? So here we have the piece flocked. So I will let that dry, and then I will seal it again over the top with some more PVA. Just actually spotted a little bit that I missed at that top end. So yeah, so once that's all set, I'll come along and seal it, and then we'll look at putting the trees, the bushes, and the fence in. But yeah, get in there. Here we are. That looks really well. Very pleased with that. So I'll let that dry overnight, and I'll seal it tomorrow and bring it back for the fence once I've sealed it. So the next thing I need to do is the trees and the bushes and the fence, and then, as you can see, I've got Beast painted up lovely, and we've got Dinner painted up lovely. So actually not far off. So what I've got here is I've got 5 cocktail sticks, and I'm going to paint that with my raw umber, which will give it a nice, make them look like tree trunks, similar to how it is in the pictures. So I'll get them painted up, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use a material I've not used before. I've had this for a very long time in my model railway box, which is this seafoam, I think it is, or whatever. It's a lot of people use it, but I've never used it before. So I'm just going to make use of that to make the generic treetops and also the bushes in the background. I did have a quick look at using some of my model railway trees, but none of them had long enough trunks, because as you can see from the picture, if you look at it, the trunks are really rather long, unusually long. So I'll get these painted up, they'll dry really quickly, and then what I'll do first is stick on the little bit of bushes that are going to go on the background, and then I'll bring you along when I'm doing that. So I'll get these painted up, and then we'll have a look at the bushes, and then by the time I've done that, it should be alright to start doing the treetops, and then we can wrap this build up, which is good because I've been very low motivation, but I'm still going to finish it in time, which is a relief. Anyway, let's get this done. Alright, so let's see how well this does. I'm just going to kind of slap it on, frankly. Actually, what I need to do first, this is a good point, I need to glue that on, don't I? So let's get my grabby glue, get that glued on, and clamped first. So yeah, quickly grab my glue. Here we are, here it is. I'd forgotten I'd given a tube of this to my mate Steve, so I had to quickly rack a new one up. So we'll just use the grabby glue for this. It'll work the best, and it means that I won't be stopped from doing my next step, because while I've got motivation, frankly at the moment, I want to roll with it. So we'll press that in, getting that all glued in place. Perfect. And then what I'll do is put the lid on my glue, and then we'll have a look at these bushes. So I'm going to use PVA to glue these bushes in. So I'm just going to slap a load of PVA down, and hopefully it'll all dry in. I will also clamp this so that it doesn't get knocked, because that would be really annoying if it got knocked. So clamp that in place, and then let's have a look at these bushes. Well, there we are. So put some PVA along this bit here, because there are bushes at this back bit, and there are also a few bushes a bit further along here, and then there's one down here as well. There we are. So as you can see, I've got some nice light coloured stuff, whatever it's called, I can never remembered. I'm probably going to need to seal that as well, but no panic. And then we'll put that in there. So let's get some watered down glue and just bed that in as well, and then I'll let that dry. I might not get to the trees tonight, actually, looking at this, which is a shame, but I don't want it to, no point in rushing and then spoiling it. It's going to look nice, this, I think. So we'll just soak this with some watered down PVA to get it to bed down properly. There we are. And I'll leave that to dry. And then probably tomorrow now I will come along and actually finish it, because all I've got to do is the trees, the fence, and then dinner and beast. So there we are. That was quite a long clip, but I got quite a lot done. Let's let that dry. Right, so that's glued on, but it'll still need quite a bit more kind of glue to keep it solid and make it actually stay. What I'm going to do now is first the two processes. So first of all, I'm going to come along here and we're going to stick in the tree trunks, which are just going to get pushed into the foam, hopefully. Or they'll break like that one did. That was a bit careless, wasn't it? Probably because I was trying to push it in. Right, let me get the paddle and make the hole first, because that's actually really tough. I don't know why it's so tough. Let's see if we can encourage a hole here. We can take the clamps off for now because it is dried. So let's see if we can get a hole in here. There we are. And then a bit of glue get that in the hole. There we are, sorted. I might have to repaint these a bit as well. So I'm going to stick the rest of the trees in here, and I will also get the watered down PVA and put another soaking over the top of these, and I will probably bring you back after that because I'll also do the trunks of the trees. But I'm going to get the rest of these tree trunks in, and I'll bring you back when I'm about to do the actual foliage on the trees. That's the word. Right, so here we are. We've got these trunks in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a bit of PVA on the top and also let it fall through like this, because this is going to be how the foliage is stuck on. So a little bit on the trunks, a little bit falling through, and then we'll use the same stuff as did before, and we'll wrap it on like that. And then I will get my watered down PVA, and I'll do another coat on the bottom on this to make it solid, and on over here, and also I will soak the foliage of the trees, and I'll probably have to do 3 or 4 applications of this to get it absolutely solid, but this will also secure the tree trunks a bit. So yeah, and what I might do now is put my clamps back on just loosely, because they helped to hold this up a little bit, and that might help a little bit more with this drying a bit more naturally. So just make this nice and solid, hopefully. Anyway, I'll come back and tell you how many coats it takes. We'll see. Hopefully not too many. But yeah, lots of PVA. That is the answer to every question when you're hobbying. There we are, it's coming on now. That should dry nicely. Let's let that go off, see if I need to do any more after it's gone off. The final thing for the build is going to be a little fence along the front, which I will do next. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the fence now. The ground cover is getting close to being tough enough, but this, with only the 1 coat, is still quite soft, so I'm going to do a 3rd coat of PVA on the ground cover, and then another couple at least on that, but I won't film that. I'll just let you know how many I end up doing. So what we're looking at is looking at using some of my matchsticks with no heads, and I'm just going to split these in half, which is 2.5 centimeters each, just using my chop it tool here from Micro Mark, which is really superb for softwood like this. And you can see that I've got 4. On the picture it actually only shows 3, so 1, 2, 3, and then the top piece goes across and kind of like hangs in the air, but I think I'm going to put 4 on just to make it a little bit more secure. And I am wondering if, and now we're just going to have a quick mock-up, I am wondering if just using 1 of the matchsticks will actually be long enough, and I think it will be long enough. So what I will then do is just add a shot. I have my magnetic sheet here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my magnets to make a little make a form so that this will stay still, and then probably glue it using super glue, I think, and then put a coating of PVA over the top maybe when it's done. So what we'll do is we'll get these to the correct width. Let me just move the camera a little bit, make it a little bit more easier what I'm doing. I did a wide shot so you can see everything, but now I think it would make sense just to drag that in a very professional way. So yeah, so what I'll do is I will get these the correct width apart. Perfect. So we're going to want there and 1 on the end, and then we'll place the middle ones in roughly by eye. But I think actually what I might do, better idea, is glue the cross piece, which I'm going to put on top. So I'll have 2 cross pieces, So I'll glue those two cross pieces, let that set, and then turn it over, and then, or remove it once it's set, and then glue the other two uprights in place, because these will then be absolutely happy and square. So I'll get some super glue and do that gluing, and I'll bring it back when I've got when I'm doing the other legs, show you how that's going to work, and then paint these, put them in place, and then we're pretty much done. So big thumbs up there. Well, that's set up nice and quickly. As you can see, I've got my two end pits. So what I'm now going to do, like I said, is put the other two uprights in place, and I'm just going to eyeball them like that. A couple of dots of super glue, and then set them on top. And this is one of the benefits of using super glue, is it sets up super quick. Super glue, super quick. And that then will be good. So I'll let that set. Been a bit clumsy as always. But yeah, so I'll let that set, and then I'll paint that with the dark brown, and then we'll stick it in place. So I'll bring you back when I'm coming to actually setting it in place. Right, really are wrapping this up rapidly. Wrapping it up rapidly. So what we're going to do now is stick the fence, not hedge, tried to say both words at once then, on there. And I'm going to do it so it's like that way around. So what we're going to do is going to put a little bit of super glue on the bottom of each of these. Obviously this is not a gaming piece. I would make this much more solid if this were a gaming piece. This is going to hang on Rosie's wall. That's the plan anyway. And what I'll do is I will just stand for a minute or two and hold that so it sets, and then we'll look at sticking Beast and Dinner on, and then we'll be done. How cool is that? Okay, so we have a fence. Now what I'm going to do is snip off the long bit from, actually first I need to bend it. Bend that into a foot and then snip that off. So we have Dinner, and then we're going to glue them in place. So I'll have a look at the picture, make sure that I'm happy with where, so that's that. Yeah, make sure I'm happy with where they're going to sit, and then I'll glue them in place. I'm just going to stick them to the backdrop. It's going to be the easiest way to resolve this. So bend that. No. And then snip. Think. So I think Dinner is going to go there, and I think Beast is going to go there. So I'll just grab a little dollop of PVA, put them in there, and then when they've dried, this piece is done. How cool is that? I do actually need to put a hanging bracket on the back, but I'll do that when this is dry. So there we are. Your dinner. No, I'm not. So if you hear anything in the background, I have a Rosie with me. So what I'm going to do now is, this is obviously going on her wall, and what I need is a way to mount it to the wall. So I've got some hanging kits, and they have these awesome little things in. So I'm actually going to stick one of those on the back using my grabby glue, and then later on I will put it on a wall. So we're going to find, if I haven't just broken it, I have just broken it, I'll have to fix it. Just broke the little fence off. I thought I'd do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the centre, mark it up there. I've got to glue the fence back on. I'm a klutz. And then I'm just going to use my grabby glue to put a blob of grabby glue there, a very small blob. And then Rosie, do you want to help me with this? Yeah. So very carefully, what we're going to do is we're going to take this. You come on over here. Come on over here. I
got that.
Yeah, thank you. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that Let me move you over. Ooh. Right, we're going to put that here. And what I need you to do is just press very, not heavily, very gently. That was a little bit heavy, but it's okay. There we are. When that dries, we can now hang that on your wall. How about that?
Well, there you are. I hope you enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the build, and having that hung on Rosie's wall is brilliant. I do look at it quite regularly, so does she, and we still read the book. She's getting a little bit old for it now, but she still does love Beast Feast, and I read it only a week or so ago to her. So yeah, this will be something that will probably hang on the wall for quite a long time. Anyway, if you made it this far, relatively long video, back to my normal length. Thank you ever so much for watching this. Do let me know what you think in the comments below if you've done anything similar, or if this might inspire you to do something similar. That'd be really cool. Yeah, even if you just want to say hello, I'll be very pleased to read your comments. So I'll wrap it up there. I'll say, as I always do at the moment, still going on, the war in Ukraine horrendously. I really hope it finishes soon. If you or anyone that you know is impacted by that, my heart does go out to you and anyone you know who may be in that situation. And to everyone, please do stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.